Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for your attention. We have great joy here, and we're going to present our site here, which is Night Out. And God damn it, we all deserve it. Yes. Thank you. With that, we have Mike and I, who did the front end, and we have John and Blair, who did the back end and worked with the APIs, Firebase, and different things like that. And they'll discuss their challenges as well as I will. I'd like to turn it over to Mike. He's going to take us through the site and some other great things that we did.
Thanks so much. So, just a quick question. Have you ever had a moment where you're trying to plan something with your friends or even maybe a special someone? Have you ever had this moment come up and nobody knows what they want to do?
All the time. Surprise me.
We'll just keep that in mind as we go through our site. Oh, okay, the mouse is connected to this. All right. So, good night, everyone. My name is Max. I finally got some time off for this weekend, and I'm super excited. You see, I have an old friend coming in from out of town, and when I heard that they were going to be in Tempe, I quickly messaged them over on Facebook just to see if they were available, so that way we can make sure that everything would be, to see if they were okay with just catching up over dinner. Problem is, I also just moved here. I don't really know anything in town. So I did hear about this one website. It's called Night Out, where you'll be able to just look things up by location, see what's happening around you. So I'm actually just going to do a quick search. I'm just going to look into Tempe, see what is coming up. All right. All right. Wow, that looks really awesome. But, you know, I talked to my friend. They really like Mongolian food. So I'm actually just going to check to see if I can find anything specific with Mongolian food. So, again, I'm just going to search for Tempe over here. And I'm going to ask for Mongolian. And what do you know? So I get some restaurants in Tempe specific for Mongolian food, just looking at them. Unfortunately, it looks like there isn't really that many options. It looks like it's just YC Grill and Genghis Grill. So, you know, I'm actually really into Mediterranean food. So I'm just going to go... Okay.
You picked a really tough one to spell.
That's right.
Oh, no, I practiced this. So...
Because when you're into Mediterranean food, you practice.
Yep.
Come on, I believe in you.
There we go. Oh, wow. Looks like some of these are pretty nice. I'm just going to keep scrolling down, see if there's something that catches my eye. All right. Yeah. Trace Tempe. That looks like it's going to be a pretty good one. All right. Looks like they've got a 5-star review. That's pretty impressive. I think I'm going to call them up, see if they have any availabilities for this weekend so that I can get everything squared away. All right. And fast forward a little bit, 2 years later. So,
Whoa.
2 years later,
We've been
my
around
wife and
for a
I are
long
happily.
time.
My wife and I are now happily married. It all started on that fateful night about 2 years ago, where I got to take her out to that wonderful restaurant out in Tempe. So, I think now I'm going to just go back to that website, revisit it, and see if I can actually find out if there are any events that are going to be happening in this upcoming area. So I know that we heard a lot about this musical called Wicked, so I'm going to go look that up, see if I can get some oh, well, you know, there it is, a whole bunch of information. Wow. Oh, look at that. All right, so I see that there's a showing for tonight. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make that. It looks like I'm a little busy right now. Let's see. All right. So there's one going to be tomorrow. Wow. Looks like there's a convenient button that will let me get tickets. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. How about that?
Wow!
Oh, no. That's crazy.
That's so wicked.
That was total. Up.
How did we not think of that?
There we go. All right. So next time you need to get a little bit of information about what's going on around you, if you want to get a little bit more specific with what you're looking for, if you are just interested in everything that could be happening by event, just go look for a night out. And now I pass it back to the rest of my team.
So we use several different technologies for this. Michael was grabbing UIKit in lieu of Bootstrap in order to build out the front end with Randy. Blair and I, we were working on the back end AJAX calls as well as tying the information into the database. There's two different APIs that we're using for that. The venue, as you guys saw, was Ticketmaster. Blair will talk about that.
Yeah, so Ticketmaster is a really, it's really flexible. It's really, you can do a lot of different things with it. So this search can actually, you can search for sporting events or you can search by type of music and it'll look for a bunch of different things across, I think we have it set right now to just the US, but you can set it to Europe. You can set it to like specific states. You can set it to postal codes. If I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure that the dates should be chronological. So the first thing that you see is going to be the most recent thing that's going to be happening nearby. And then from there, you can buy your things or whatever.
Sure. And once you're in the search here, you can... I don't know how to make apples work.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what scared me.
All right. Boop.
I don't know how to make Max work. When you search by location, it's going to pull from the Yelp API. The Yelp API is, once you get it working, it gives you a whole bunch of information. One of our biggest challenges was CORS errors for CORS requests. The whole issue with Yelp is they give you this very big 128-bit API key, but they want it to be secure. If you put the API key into the code on your site, anybody could grab that code. So they don't like cross-origin resource sharing. They don't support it. So we ended up, to make it work, as it was such an integral part to our site.
Shout out to Nick.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you, Nick.
Tying in a third-party Heroku server to proxy the CORS request. So you make the request through the Heroku server goes to Yelp. Yelp gives the response to Heroku and bounces back to you. A little bit of latency as a result, but as you can see, let's just say you want to do...
Des Moines, Iowa.
Sure, Des Moines. You will get results for Des Moines, Iowa.
Oh, zombie bird.
Oh my
And
God, that looks so good.
I'm going there.
The recent addition with our pop-out, you can Des Moines and pick a specific type of food. And let's say you like chicken wings. No steak tonight. Chicken wings. And it'll bring up any place that has chicken wings in Des Moines. Now, how this ties into our database information, our second major hurdle was
Tears.
Firebase.
Yeah, so
And Firebase authentication.
So Firebase, for whatever reason, we had it in our minds that we would just start with our work on Firebase started at authentication, and we're like, all right, everybody in the class has a GitHub, so let's try and use that. And we were trying to use the Firebase UI that they give you to kind of generate that kind of thing, and we could get our users to be authorized with GitHub, and it would show up in our Firebase console. You could see like all the information, but then you would go to the page and you could like log certain things and it would say that the current user was null. So we just couldn't, that was our roadblock that we couldn't get past. So we decided to shelve that. And then our next idea to make the database, something that was functioning and we were storing something, we decided to use the searches that we're all doing. And so each search will add itself to the database, and I'm pretty sure it'll be unique. It'll only add unique. Are we out of time?
Time flies.
And so further than that, as you can see, with the help of Nick again and Michael, we create an array of our searches, and then it goes through and then prints them as buttons, so you can have previous searches show up.
Oh, it didn't. Okay.
No, it's because it was misspelled.
Yeah.
But if you look at the recent events that are being populated over here for recent searches, now if you go all the way down to the bottom, we search for Des Moines during this right here, and it brings us right back to where we came from. So in the future, we would like to get individual users logged, have a checkout, have people's unique IDs or access tokens get stored, so you can leave the site and come back, and what you picked or what you were in the process of working on when life got in the way is back here waiting for you. But that is down the road. We definitely want to explore that with user Firebase authentication or whatever other database information we have moving forward. Try to keep it simple and sweet, but the whole process, I would say, would be very much a learning experience. Lastly, on the right-hand side, there's a little widget here. This plugin is called Share This, and we totally forgot to talk about it. You can click on it. It'll take you to your social share of choice.
Daniel.
We're posting your Facebook, buddy. Sorry.
I'm not posting to Facebook.
Yes.
You're the best instructor ever.
No, his story. Post it to his story.
No.
That way it doesn't stay.
And the way Share This works, you reference their code library, and it'll auto-populate the buttons dynamically on your site. And if a user has a social share which you chose not to put on there, they can click the share button, and that's everything that Share This offers. It's quick, it's easy, and hopefully I won't kill the whole site by doing this.
Oh, you will.
And I just did. Well, it looks
All
like
of our hard work.
It looks like our time is up anyway. What questions do you guys have for us?
Questions or comments or
No off-topic questions.
No, I mean, it seems
You've been denied.
It's like, I can use it. You can
Absolutely.
make, like, Phoenix Night Out. You can make specific cities.
Yeah,
Even
and
if it's simple.
if
you want to do something, I want to eat.
like, my thoughts going forward. Oh, I'm sorry. No, you go. My thoughts going forward, if I was to like keep working on this, would to be make it more of like kind of what we were talking about, where it's a user experience, whereby it's not just like a Google thing where you show up and it's like a search thing. Whereas I would like it to be more of you sign in and it's like a kind of like an experience. Like it takes you through each thing step by step. By the end of it, you have a dinner and a movie or like a show. And then you can check out from there and then maybe push it to your calendar, something like that. And then, you could add reviews and comments and kind of start creating a community kind of thing.
So the search results, they are from Yelp API, both of them, the events and the restaurants, both of them are coming from Yelp?
So the event search, or you can search a whole bunch of different things with the event button. That's using Ticketmaster, and then the location is using Yelp.
Those two buttons are hard-coded to the different APIs.
Okay, and when the button that shows up on the left side, when you click, what's the date range that it takes into account?
So the way that we save our searches is there's a recent event search and there's a recent location search. And so those are put into their own separate collection and then gathered from there with unique IDs.
Yeah, they have their own class, so it's either a location button or event button class, and then we have an on-click event to fire the specific function if one of those buttons with that class is clicked.
Questions?
Yes, Nick.
Nick?
You guys had like an extra week or two, to work on this. Is there anything that you would include that you don't have already?
Be able to buy tickets.
Yeah, maybe more of it. like in the site instead of taking you away from it. Like have it be more there.
Yep.
If I had another week, I would try to tackle creating the authentication and the user sign-in kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Personally.
And a fully functioning background.
Oh yeah.
Other story for
Oh
another
my
time.
God.
No
It is
off-topic questions.
Well, that's on topic because it was one of our roadblocks.
A background that would show up fully on the page. We tried 7 different ways from Sunday to post a background.
Did we decide if that was us or if it was UI kit?
I couldn't.
I
couldn't discern.
vote UI kit.
And it was only referencing on the top 38% of the page.
Yeah.
But
so we could get
but
an
give
image.
it a week. We should probably be able to
But
figure it out.
the image was like not cutting off the buttons, but it was like displaying just above the end of the button, so it just didn't look as clean as we wanted it to. So we opted not to go for it.
I want a night out.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm clapping us. Why am I doing? Sorry. I'm conditioned.
You want to go ahead and kick us off?
No? What do you want me to say? All right, you guys ready? Can you hear me? So we created an app called Ticket Finder IO. It's a tool that helps users quickly find an event in their area on a designated day. Users are also able to add the event to their Google calendars, and they can even locate and be directed where they can buy the tickets. Our motivation is kind of just create a functioning app using the skills that we learned in class. So I can't, it's not showing the whole thing. I don't know how to read it. Dang, Max.
I pressed 3 down.
Oh, there we go. Okay. So yeah, we used the Ticketmaster API on that. I also integrated Google OAuth and Google Calendar API, and we actually used Firebase and stored, when someone signs into Google, it stores their whole profile into our Firebase data, so we can kind of see their whole account there.
Yeah, so that's what it does. Do you want to show what it does, and then we can talk about like the,
yeah, let's go over it.
So the technology that we weren't familiar with that we used was we'll use Bootstrap 2 and then some custom CSS and Foundation, and then we dabbled a little bit with Sass. So we did that.
Bring up the app.
I'm gonna pull it up for you.
Well, I don't know the link. I can guess it.
It's on Slack. I don't know where his Slack is. He's got a fancy one. I don't know how to use this.
Sorry.
This one?
Yep. That's the one. Paste. Yellow is big?
Green. Green is big.
So basically you search your city and you search your date. And then pulling from the Ticketmaster API, it shows up what's going on that day, and then dynamically the buttons will pop up and you can buy tickets, which leads to the API or the Ticketmaster. And then the other button, add your calendar. If you're logged in, you can sign in the top right.
Normally it doesn't redirect you, but apparently on this laptop it does. It's normally a little pop-up. Might.
It's Google.
Security.
It's all
Maybe that's why we couldn't figure it out.
Cool. So it shows that you're logged in, and you can add to your calendar. Pop-up blocker is probably not. Huh. I should have just used my laptop.
Command point?
I don't know how to work a Mac. I don't even know what a
Command.
I don't know.
Oh gosh.
It's Chrome.
Oh.
This is Chrome. Let's go.
Yeah.
Well, it's supposed to take you to your calendar.
Well,
And it does.
It pops up a model saying that the event is successfully added, and then it adds it to your Google Calendar. But I don't know what's going on, to be honest.
Yeah, wasn't it working on our computers?
Yeah. You want to go get your laptop?
Yeah, what is
Is it
the
gonna work on
port
yours?
look like?
I think Daniel's laptop is first.
Yeah, there's some cursed.
Incognito or there's no pop-up. You want to try Safari?
Oh, how do you do
Or
that?
get a laptop that has not been cursed.
Yeah. She didn't get her laptop. Somehow it pops up.
No, we're not even on.
Should be showing, right? It's not just supposed to pop up.
Turn your computer on and show it. On the small screen.
Works.
Hmm.
How do you make it come up? Is there anything you have to do?
I don't think so.
Is there anything when you put your, like when you plug your laptop in that you have to do in order for it to stream on there or show on there? Or should it just do it automatically?
So it's the HDMI cable that's cursing all the computers.
There's a ghost in the system.
Can that just go straight in, or is it?
Yeah, it can.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it can go straight in.
That would make sense.
Yeah, it's coming up.
There we go.
There we go.
So you, it's up. You have to drag it. Maybe it's to the right.
There we go.
Oh my gosh, it's like the trivia thing.
No, I just can't grab it now. Where'd it go?
Go to the right.
Okay.
All right.
So,
Here we go.
I'm going to sign in. Gives you a token. Add to calendar. Or maybe not.
I'm still learning Chrome.
See, it wasn't just my computer.
I apologize, Daniel.
Yeah, we really jumped the gun on that curse.
What was it?
Yeah.
2019.
I will cancel the exorcism I had scheduled. Hey! Long time no see.
Well, it popped up in a new window. Just not add into the calendar.
You're not logged in. You gotta sign back in. That's a scope. It asks you for access to your calendar.
was working, right? Okay, well it's not working right now, but it was earlier.
It must just be broken in this room. Just imagine that.
You get the you get the picture.
Yeah.
Wait, is it working for you?
Yeah, like he added the calendar, and then I logged in, and then it broke it because there's a bunch of errors. I always see it happening.
What's the?
As he was supposed to.
Yeah, that's weird.
It was you.
Well, technically it was them.
Oh, don't look at Roland.
You did not.
Don't talk to Roland.
I did things. I did things.
As long as I don't stay somewhere.
Well, you can buy a ticket, and that's the most important part. So we had trouble, I guess, with merging stuff. When we brought everything together, everything broke a few times, and then Bryce wanted to add a lot of features. He always wants to add stuff, so I was like, no, because it's just going to break again.
The hardest part was figuring out the Google sign-in. Initially, I used Firebase authentication, but it wouldn't give me the correct token to access their Google Calendar API. So I had to spend a lot of time figuring out how to use OAuth and use a Google SDK, and then I can use like different methods to. So I had to use a method to get their calendar ID, and then using that calendar ID, I can push different events into their calendar. It took me like 20 hours to figure that out. Yeah. But I did it. Well, I'm kind of upset it's not working right now.
I know that's annoying.
So, some of the things that I think that we need to fix is if you refresh the page, it kind of signs you out. So, kind of have to. It pushes the whole Google profile to Firebase. So we capture their first name, last name, email, their profile image. I mean everything that they have on Google. It adds.
Did it just open up in a new window? Just like
Oh, yep. It works in Safari.
Does it? Should we try opening that?
Yeah, try it in Safari. I built it in Chrome, so I don't know what the issue is.
Let's rip this.
Oh.
Go that way on the thing.
Yeah, Roland worked on the Ticketmaster API. I did the Google OAuth and the Google Calendar API. Yeah. Katie did a lot of the front end work, making it look nice and design. And he stored and wrote the code to store all the information into Firebase. So, yeah, some of the biggest issues was GitHub, was creating branches and pushing them and just waiting for it to approve. And the only way I could test the Google OAuth was if I pushed my code to GitHub. I couldn't run it on live server on Visual Studio Code. I couldn't run it on a local host. It had to be online. So every time I wanted to test, I had to wait like 5 to 10 minutes. So I wish I figured out a different way to do that, but I just never did, I guess. So.
There we go. There we go.
There we go. Yeah.
Now go to your Google Calendar. See if it actually added. Yeah, sorry. You gotta show it.
I have to show everyone my
Just
calendar.
make a modal that shows it worked, but you gotta show that it worked.
Go to my calendar.
Just go to google.com.
Google.
Google. Click that.
And then, yeah.
Calendar.
What day was it?
I don't know. I don't have much going on. So.
Was it May 3rd?
Go to month.
Right on the tree.
Down there. See?
We're going to Wicked.
Woo!
Yeah.
Awesome. Highly recommend.
Trying to think. I think I wanted to add kind of like a save feature. So if once you're logged in, you can kind of save the event instead of you can come back and kind of view it right there. I also wanted to add a sharing feature since I already have Google implemented. It'd probably be pretty easy to implement that somehow. So you can quickly share with people either by email or by Google invite or a calendar invite. Yeah, that's our project. Any questions? Yes.
So what exactly are you guys storing in the database?
So it's we get a response after you authenticate.
Okay.
And it kind of has the profile. So once you sign in, it automatically it pushes to the database that whole profile. So it's first name, last name, email address. There's an image URL, which is I'm assuming if you have like a Google Plus account, it'll store that link to that info. Yeah, just a few little things. Yeah, and I also want to capture when that person is signed in and they click an event, I want that to add to their little profile. So store that in Firebase as well. Just never got around to it because I spent more time actually making the Google Calendar work, and it was difficult. So if you need help, let me know.
You're the first person I'm going to call, man.
Any other questions? Yes.
Was it your first time working with SAS or whoever did it in your group, or did you learn from scratch?
No, it was the first time I kind of like dabbled with it, but very interesting.
We also used Foundation a little bit too.
Oh yeah, we like kind of like pulled stuff from Foundation, like made like a custom template-ish thing.
So, piggybacking on this question, people were saying it's did you deploy it on GitHub? How did you solve the SAS issue?
I'm sorry?
They were saying over here that when they were using SAS or less, they were not able to deploy to GitHub. Do you guys have the issues?
We had problems with it showing up, but we actually ended up not using it. Like we tried it, and then just no, because it wasn't. But it was really cool, the idea of it.
Yeah.
I think our new technology we used was called Foundation. So I think it was CSS.
Yeah, it's basically just like a different version of Bootstrap, but.
We still use Bootstrap too because I couldn't figure out a way to make a modal work with Foundation. Their documentation is kind of poor, so and yeah, so was Google honestly, but I didn't know what I was doing, to be honest. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. So I realized but that modal is Bootstrap. I think that's like the only Bootstrap thing we're using. And yeah.
So with the information you were able to glean from the Google Calendar API, would we be able to apply that to other parts of the Google Suite or any other type of things, or is it very specifically?
So when you authenticate, you have to put in a scope. So when the person does sign in, as you saw, it prompted for access to their Google Calendar. So if you're not putting a different type of scope in there, there is a scope where you can just have access to their whole Google Calendar, but I doubt they'll approve that. But yeah, there's a certain scope I had to put in there, so that way it prompted them, and I only got back a certain result, I think. Yeah, it was difficult. I keep saying that. But. Any other questions? Come on, more questions? No?
Who wants to go?
All right, I'm not going to take too much time, but I just want you guys to realize this was just 7 weeks worth of work, right? You guys accomplished a lot just with week 7 or week 8 and 9, you guys have been working on this. So just with the knowledge of 7 weeks, I think the projects were impressive. You guys took a lot of challenges, especially with the Google APIs and all. Those are definitely not easy, and especially within the first 7 weeks, that's a lot of stuff. So give yourself a hand. Everything was very good. So before I go on to the next one, what you guys have to do is submit your projects in Bootcamp Spot. Make sure submit your GitHub link and the code link also, and also your direct URL, so that TS can look through the code and make sure everything was followed accordingly. There's a small homework. You guys just have to update your portfolio for next week. So go ahead, update your portfolio that you created from your week 1. I think add this projects, whatever you accomplished, to your portfolio page. Add a GitHub link so that anybody can go and access and look at the project. Okay. For now, we'll start back on our regular sessions on Thursday. But as Randy said, you guys have earned, so please take some time to celebrate, because the next 6 weeks, starting from Thursday, are going to be even more crazy. Yes. We are diving into backend, and that is never easy. A lot of people struggle with that. It's fun if you get it, but it takes time to get over there. Anyway, I won't scare you for today. But that's for Thursday. All right. So that's all I have. Please update your portfolio for next week, and I'll see you guys on Thursday.
Awesome.
Everybody want a second demo?
Just with the whole flow without any hiccups.
I'm gonna leave my laptop off and I only have USB, so.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I know. There's a regular one.
We didn't even touch on this.
Yeah, that's what I was coming up with.
Yeah, but it didn't get much.
So finally, you can add to the push.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know what's going on. That was kind of weird. But it's pretty. I put a lot of time into this one function. Sometimes it takes a lot. Yeah, sometimes it takes a lot longer.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes
But
I
it's
just have to
already,
refresh.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's just pushing. It's just pushing the title of the event and at musical instrument.
Right.
But
no, even getting to the point. I mean, I know it was working. You said, but cracking the Google API and the calendar. I know that's a big challenge. I mean,
no, it was real good. So yeah, I just.
So they have their own functions, or did you have to make an Ajax call? Oh, they have functions.
It's an SDK.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's called.
Yep.
So I kind of just linked it into my HTML,
right,
and then I can use some of their functions.
Yeah.
So yeah, they authenticate. That's where I get my scope, calendar, got events. I haven't pulled it. So this is what I've done.
Okay.
But then after you authenticate, it'll automatically run. Sign-in button will authenticate, then load client.
Right.
So then it'll load the GAPI client.
Okay.
And then I created this function myself, get calendar ID, and then this is where I pushed everything. I have calendar. I basically created the event here, parsed out all the information from Ticketmaster,
right,
and then inserted it into their calendar, and then I created a display success modal.
Right.
So yeah, that was.
Oh, that's pretty impressive. Even I know Andrew's team, they were using the Google Places API. They use the same SDK kind of concept.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the Ajax call.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what they started with.
Yeah, that's what I was. That's exactly what I was doing. They said it was Firebase authentication.
Yeah.
So that's what I had initially, and it was working, but I couldn't use it with a Google Calendar API in any way. So
yeah,
I had to totally reroute.
Yeah.
now, and it took a while.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Very impressive.
Yeah, that was good.
All right, awesome job, man.
My team's already out. All right. Yeah. We're use our ad if it works. Yeah, your presentation was hilarious. Few skills that I posted a lot of comedy shows where the lineup was.
Hey, I forget. Did I tell you my work started doing a training program?
Oh yeah, no. What was it?